Addiction is thinking that the source that cleared addictive drugs will appropriately deal with the subsequent addictions. Stateheads. Okay, came up with this thought some time back, and something I recently posted made me think about this again, and I had this in the backlog. So let me touch on the thing I recently posted. There's been a pandemic in the world. Different places, different governments have had different shutdowns where they say this is essential and this isn't essential. This needs to be open, this needs to be closed. You can do this, you can't do that. People need this for their health. People don't really need that right now for their health as well. One thing is, in many places, liquor stores, marijuana dispensers, certain drugs that are considered legal, I mean, are supposedly, yeah, we can actually have. We have to have these things. You can't go to the bar, but yeah, you can get liquor actually delivered to your house. And then I was thinking, wait, in this other video I posted, I was thinking, hey, well, for some people, they have issues with these drugs and they need to recover for certain drugs, and they go to certain places like AA meetings, or they feel I need to walk in a park, or I just like congregating with people and just having discussions, doing some kind of activities that gets my mind off of this addiction that I have with this problem, with this substance. But the government comes in and says, you can't actually do those things anymore. You can't congregate. So yeah, AA might not be a government institution thing. It might not be run by the public sector. But if you can't congregate, if you can't have the churches or the other kind of buildings open where these meetings are normally held, or if you can't have certain events, some parks were closed. If somebody's like, I just like, whenever I feel this urge to drink, I just go and I walk in this park and I just commune with nature and it helps me. But no, the park is closed. But you can actually now, your liquor store can actually deliver alcohol to you, and people can backslide into this thing. And I was just thinking, yeah, that's a typical kind of state thing. I don't even think it's intentional. It's just, that's the way the state functions. That's just the substance. That is just the nature of the state. I don't think it was intentional. That's just the nature of the bureaucracy. It's not like we want to hurt people. It's just what is most expedient at that time. We haven't really considered these ramifications. If those ramifications come, there's no real system that's going to hold us accountable in that sense. So we'll just deal with those things as they come. That's just the way, that's the nature of the beast, as they say. The drug is the drug is the drug. Now the person taking the drug, whatever happens with them, their mentality, their biology, that's what actually changes the situation. If you actually have certain injuries, you will be given morphine, which is a derivative, which heroin is a derivative of. If you don't have an actual harm situation and you take that same morphine, that could be addictive for a different reason. So there's things with that. But with this whole thought, with the current shorty in this situation, my main thought was towards the opioid pandemic. The way people are looking to the government in order to actually help or address the opioid pandemic that was going on in the United States of America. And there's some interesting things with that. With where are these things actually coming from? They're coming from China. From China. Why are the precursors for these drugs coming from China? I know some of them do come from south of the border, but it's apparently some of those cartels are not even having they can't actually get the precursors, the base stuff, because they were actually getting them from China, and there's places in China that are now closed down because of the pandemic's effect there, so they're not getting the precursors, so they don't have enough to actually make the substances and ship them in. So, but anyway, this entire process, but coming back just to the stuff in the United States of America, I'm talking about mostly the FDA. Mostly the people, the CDC, most of these people who are in charge of actually okaying what is a legal drug and what is an illegal drug. Or having a law system where it's like, oh, you can sign a non-disclosure agreement. I have a separate video on this as well. Where you can sign a non-disclosure agreement and settle outside of court, even though this company has been shown by the actual studies and the evidence that was found in the beginning of this case, has been shown to be actually producing something that they know is addictive and has these negative actual results for a vast percentage of people. But because of the way the system is, you can just pay this person off, sign the NDA, and then it's like, okay, we'll settle this outside of court. And then that company can still keep producing that same drug and getting more people addicted to it. And then once that happens, once it's some kind of drop and some change in prices, then people start going to other drugs like the fentanyl and all these things that are cheaper. And that whole process is there. So the government was responsible for allowing and enabling all that to go for the initial parts of the opioid pandemic. But then now that it's turned into a pandemic, people are going back and expecting that same government to all of a sudden be the one who is primarily responsible for addressing the effects of the thing they actually empowered and played a part in starting to begin with. And that is something that I think is something that you see with addiction. somebody just keeps drinking more and more and more. Man, I drank yesterday and these problems happened. And then, like, you know what? I'm going to drink again. Oh man, last time I hung out with these people, we end up going to take these things, and then this thing happened. You know what? I'm gonna talk to them. Maybe we can fix. So this is going back to that source, going back to the people who are in charge. It's like no, they either don't recognize what they're doing to harm you, or they're actually invested in you actually being harmed, or they are also part of that addiction cycle, and they are addicted to whoever is supplying them. There is a situation, a separate video talking about how celebrities might actually be addicted to us because we are providing them with some endorphins and some feeling of position, some feeling of belonging. And this might go further to a personal aspect, which is unfortunate, which is one thing I realized, like by having some interaction with somebody was saying, oh, this is, if you do this, you lose me in this way. And I'm like, wait, what? You think I care? Or in that kind of sense, like, is that the relationship you think you have with a person? So this is just something that I'm just trying to understand the different relationships people have with people. Is it addictions? Is it a give or take? Is it a win-win situation? Is it symbiotic? What relationships do people have with other people, other institutions, other organizations, substances, things in their life? It's just something to kind of think of. This is kind of went into other places. But yeah, that's it for now. It's part of my shorty series. Some of these, as you can see, are not that organized and scatterbrained a bit. But like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this whole thing. People going to the actual state in specific to solve issues that you think were clearly created by that very state to begin with. And has that happened to you? Do you find yourself doing this? How do you stop this? Just let me know. Till next time, goodbye.